Hey, come on, man.
A fixed flower blooms, then it grows. Don't you know I love you, girl?
This is my home state, Tennessee, and I'm from Murfreesboro, Tennessee, and in my hometown there was a funeral home. Well, the man who managed the funeral home, he told a story. One time he went to Atlanta on business, and when he was coming back, it got later than he thought, and it was the wee hours of the morning, and he needed a place to stay, but every motel he stopped at was whites only. So finally, he got a place, but he had to do that by begging a white hotel owner to let him have a room, and the guy did it even though it was against the policy. Do you think African Americans are owed anything for that kind of treatment in the past? Well, today what we're going to talk about is reparations, and should reparations be given to descendants of slaves in particular, but all people who suffered from the Jim Crow laws. The main moral argument for reparations goes as follows. Premise 1. If you are robbed, then the state or the government should repair the wrong insofar as it is possible. If your car is stolen, it's right for the state, for example, the police, who are agents of the state or the government, to find the thief and get the car or its value back to you. Premise 2. During the times of slavery and Jim Crow, African Americans were robbed of wealth. Now, to see more full support for this premise, please read and listen to this week's assignments, because you're going to get a lot more examples there. But here's a very basic example. If you are forced to work without pay, the wealth your labor would have produced is stolen from you. But slaves were forced to work without pay, so slaves had their labor stolen from them. Conclusion, therefore, the U.S. should right the wrong to African Americans insofar as possible. It should pay out some form of reparations to the descendants of slaves. Well, these two said they could get me as far as Memphis, so...
Thank you very much.
You know, this guy who picked me up to give me a ride, I told him what I was doing, and he had an objection to the argument. He said that you wouldn't be paying the same people as suffer the injustice. So, the people who were victims of slavery and Jim Crow, they're not the same as the African Americans who would get the payments or reparations. The African Americans in premise 2 are not the same African Americans as the ones in the conclusion, since the African Americans who were robbed are not the same as those living today. There is no one to repay. So yes, we should repair insofar as it is possible, but in this case, it is not possible. Now, there are two responses to this objection. First, the inheritance response to the not the same people objection. Just as the wealth of a person without a will go to the next of kin, morally, the slave's next of kin should inherit the owed wealth. So, for example, suppose I borrow $20,000 from Fred. When he dies, it would be morally wrong to stop repaying if he has a wife and kids. The owed wealth gets inherited, morally at least, by the wife and kids. Wow, that was such a polite young man who gave me a ride. Hey, this is Memphis's Blue City Cafe. Come on, let's go inside.
You ain't nothing but a hound.
It's true. The performer Big Mama Thornton was the first to perform the song Hound Dog. It got famous under Elvis, but she recorded it first. Secondly, there is the harm response to the not the same people objection. Premise 1. If your ability to earn wealth is harmed by the state, then the harm should be undone insofar as it is possible. The state of Iowa has, for example, has paid out very large sums for the firing of people that was later judged to be improper. One case is here. Premise 2. African Americans living now got harmed by the policies of the past. Again, do the reading and listening to learn about this, but one example is as follows. Because Jim Crow laws and policies made it harder for most black people to accrue wealth and own land, current black families now have 10 to 15 times less wealth than white families of Americans. Conclusion, therefore, reparations are owed to living African Americans for the harm they suffered from racist policies of the past.
The ethics flower bloom.
Objection 2 to the original argument is the who owes objection. Since no present-day white person harmed long-dead African Americans of the past, and the government is different now, there is no entity left who owes money to present-day black people. But the same government response to the who owes objection is as follows. While the claim that no present-day white harmed long-dead African Americans is true, the claim that the government is different now is false. Just as Kirkwood Community College is still the same college, despite staff changes over the years, America's government stays the same despite the fact that its leaders change. If it isn't the same country as in the past, it would make no sense to take credit for past achievements. America helped win World War II. America helped Berlin after World War II. America set a great example, and so on. But if current America can take credit for good past achievements, then it's the same America. Hey, somebody stepped on my blue suede Adidas's.
But wow, my feet really are 10 feet off of Bill. Oh my gosh.
Okay, last thing I'll point out. A utilitarian take on reparations would be this. If doing it will bring about the greatest happiness for the greatest number, then do it. If not, then don't. Notice utilitarianism doesn't worry about justice, only what will bring about the best world in the future. The Kantian take on reparations is as follows. If black Americans were used as a mere means to an end, then we should right the wrong, period. Kant's ethics doesn't worry about whether it will make the greater number happy or not, just whether the act conforms with the two versions of the categorical imperative.
Walking with my feet 10 feet off a beam.